All right. Michelle Stafford has been in the wellness industry for almost 20 years. What started out as a way to get her body back after giving birth to 3 sons grew into a full-blown lifestyle and career. You can read more about her on our website, but Creative Mornings Baltimore. Please help me welcome Michelle to the stage.
Hello. Hey. I'm Michelle Stafford, and welcome to my Creative Mornings talk. Oh, my video is playing, all right. So this video is gonna be a backup to my casual talk, okay? I'm gonna be talking about circadian rhythms. Does anybody know what that is? Right? All right. Who feels like they're in tune with their circadian rhythm? All right, so what are circadian rhythms? Circadian rhythms are the physical, mental, and behavioral changes that follow a 24-hour cycle. These natural processes respond primarily to light and dark and affect most living things, including animals, plants, and microbes. Chronobiology is the study of circadian rhythms. So we kind of probably thrown off because we're in the dark right now. Feel like it's nighttime, right? Circa diem, about a day. So that's the translation for circadian. That's a Latin derivative. So one of the things I wanted to talk about specifically was the COVID, all right? Not again, oh my God, right? But something really powerful came out of the COVID. When everybody was on lockdown, I had to transfer all my classes to Zoom because we couldn't leave the house. So immediately, March of 2020, I converted my classes onto Zoom, which actually meant that I was able to offer more classes. And I knew that people were out of sync, maybe sleeping in, feeling a little wonky, lonely, and things like that. So, and knowing that people's circadian rhythms would be thrown off, I came up with sunrise yoga. So I actually have some of my sunrise yogis in class right now. Raise your hand, whoop, whoop, raise the roof, whoop, whoop. So we were on Zoom more than we were not on Zoom. So class starts at 7 a.m. and then afterward we would have conversations and we would talk about everything from bras to real social issues and things like that. We cried, we laughed. Some of our Zoom calls would last all day long. We did laundry, cleaned our houses, all kinds of things. But now we meet 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then we're meeting more in person now. So behind me, you'll see basically my life, videos that came off of my cell phone. Yesterday, my husband was like, raise your hand, husband. Right. Yesterday, my husband said, where you get all these videos from? My cell phone. And people like Nia who take those videos for me. Thank you, dear. So what does this have to do with y'all, right? I was talking to Julia earlier. Where's she at? Right, Julia. I happened to walk around the corner. The universe talks to us all the time, right? And so it's just a matter of, are we paying attention? So I walked around the corner and I saw this big ass clock. Who noticed that clock? Anybody? Right? That clock has 14 hours on it instead of 12, okay? So what would you do with 2 extra hours in a day? Right, what would you do with them? I'm gonna tell you right now, y'all probably gonna waste them. I already know. You're probably gonna waste them. All right, so our circadian rhythms are very important. It's something that we don't think about very often, but I hear people complaining all the time. I don't get enough sleep, I was up late, I got up early, whatever, right? You are so powerful, okay? You make choices every single day, all day, that has an effect on your life, all right? So maybe you work at night. You're like, I got to work at night. I got to pay these bills. I got to be up at night. Okay, that's fine. So what can you control, right? Use dark out shades, you know, when you go to sleep to mimic the evening. Make sure that you exercise. I'm biased, of course, right? But exercise really works. The time of day that you exercise has an effect on whether or not you're able to sleep. So if you work out at 8 o'clock at night and go to bed, well, you probably will have trouble staying asleep, right? But if you work out closer to the morning, then it's going to be better for you. Another thing is eating. The time of day that you eat. Don't eat too late. And when you eat the same time of day, right? So you don't want to eat and then lay down. The next thing is to get sunlight. Again, we're in the dark right now, so you might feel a little sleepy. If you're yawning during my talk, I will not take it personally, okay? So it's very important that you get 30 minutes of sunlight a day. But guess what? It's recommended that you get 30 minutes of exercise a day, so it works. So what do? Go outside or stand by a window and exercise. Okay? What does exercise look like? Whatever you want it to, you just got to move. You can walk your dog. You can run up and down your steps. You can put on your favorite song. Running your mouth doesn't count, though, I have to tell you, okay? A lot of you all work from home. So what can you do? You can work out on your porch. I know the seasons are changing, but at least open up your blinds. Work near a window so that you can see the sun. You know, the sun is a powerful thing. You actually absorb vitamin D when you go out into the sun. Vitamin D is very important for your colon to absorb minerals into your system, right? Who knew that? I knew Jen was going to raise her. She was like, I know all the stuff, okay? So it's very important to tune into your circadian rhythm, tuning into the universe around you, seeing signs all around you that give you messages all day long. This morning, I have been getting messages all day long. The clock on the wall. I stopped at the light, and I was in the car, and I was listening to music. Everybody around me probably think I'm crazy because I always dance in the car and sing and scream. And I looked up on the building, and I saw Ollie's gummy melatonin sleep aid. Right? It's just all around me over and over again. People randomly having conversations with me. We were talking about the Dr. Oz show. Right? I was on the Dr. Oz show, and I won a trip to Mexico. My husband and I went to Mexico. And we were on the European eating plan. Do you remember that, honey? European eating plan means no food, right? Apparently, Europeans don't eat. I don't know. So, but the reason why I was on the Dr. Oz show was because they asked everybody, okay, what are your sleep aids, right? It's just a coincidental conversation, right? What are your sleep aids? So my sleep aids are socks and a sleep mask. Right, because I like to block the light out. My husband reads all night long. I'm like, dude, did you sleep last night? And then socks. And so apparently Dr. Oz thought that was pretty cool because it's like the sleep mask, the socks, and nothing in between. So actually having socks on when you go to sleep is very important because if your extremities are cold, you have a harder time falling asleep, and your core temperature actually has to drop. So it is a good idea to set, not only do you save energy in your house in the wintertime when you turn your heat down, but it's better for your sleep to sleep when it's a little bit colder than when you're awake. The next thing is make sure that you don't have caffeine too late in the day, right? We have some wonderful Black Acres coffee, great for the morning, but once you get to around 4 o'clock, back up off the coffee, okay? Step away from the coffee. So alcohol, nicotine, caffeine, all of these things can disturb your sleep cycles, okay? So habits, what you eat in the morning and at night, making sure that you do things at the same time of the day. Of course, there are things that are beyond our control, right? And so don't think about what you can't control. Don't focus on a problem. Focus on the solution, okay? So I'm just checking out. All right, so we're at the part where we're supposed to be breathing now, okay? All right. Ooh, I don't think I took a breath the whole time. All right, so let's take a breath. And just notice your first breath, where's it coming from? Right, so if you practice breathing regularly, pranayama, right, that's a Sanskrit term for breathing exercises. If you practice regularly, boom, you snap right into it, right? But if you're not used to it, your body goes, what are you doing? You might get a little lightheaded. If you get lightheaded, just ease up off of the breathing a little bit, right? And feel your belly. Is it moving? Now feel your chest. Are your ribs moving? I thought you said to touch my chest. Guess what? You got ribs up in your chest. Right. Ribs go all the way up to your shoulders. Inhaling for 4. Exhaling for 4. And your eyes can be open or closed. And notice things in your body as your jaw relaxed, your eyes, your butt cheeks, toes. Slow, soft, deep inhalations and exhalations. And now just observe, what do you notice after you take that little bit of time? Got real quiet. Mind calmed down a little bit. And now begin to breathe naturally. Opening your eyes if they're closed. Right? How do y'all feel? Feel pretty good? You feel all right. Y'all should feel awake. Y'all been drinking coffee. Right? So there was a part of the video that had happened earlier where there was me and like all the flowers and the stuff like that, if you noticed. I know my face is like, you can't, you know. But basically the point of that video was to show you that even in the chaos, no matter what is going on in your life, you have to stay focused. There's always going to be an excuse, but what is your reason? Find your reason to be awesome, to be connected to yourself, to have your constant practices. And if you need help, I'm here. Give me a call, send me a DM, all right? So I think we doing questions or something after this? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, now we're ready for questions. I feel like you were ready to start. Let's go.
Okay, because I just have a question about like how you're supposed to properly breathe, because I get it all the time that I never breathe because I'm just always talking and going. And my boss is like, take a breath. So, but I don't feel like I know how to properly like inhale and exhale. So I feel like I'm never relaxed and I'm just always like up. So how do I properly like breathe to get relaxed?
Okay. So first of all, you're alive. So you're doing something right. Okay. And when you're talking and you're excited, that's not the time to practice your breathing, right? When you get to a place to yourself, maybe when you're about to go to sleep or right before you eat food, because when you're about to eat food, sometimes we're running, right? So if you take 10 breaths right before you eat, maybe you say grace first. You know, find a place where you practice when not in the, you know, when you're stressed out or whatever, right? So that's the first thing. And then when you practice regularly, when you get into that situation, then you'll be breathing better. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, right? So again, breathing with your belly, right? Breathing deeply, fully, with awareness in your whole torso, right? Relax your jaw, maybe close your eyes, or practice. That's really the main thing. It's just constant practice. How do you breathe correctly, right? Because there's always somebody going to say, oh, you need to do it like this, right? Do it how you do it, right? And just practice when you're on your own time. 4 count in and out if you need something like that. You know, inhale for 4, exhale for 4. Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, make your arm movements big. It's dark down here, y'all.
Hi, that was an amazing talk, and I'm curious, how did you get started with this? Like, what is that background and story?
Thank you. With all of this, I've been exercising since I was 6. And I've always loved exercise, like organized exercise. And some people dream of being doctors, and I dreamt of being an exercise teacher. The way I got into yoga, my knee was injured. And the doctor was like, do yoga. And I was like, ew, yoga's dumb. But it's not dumb. It's not. Trust me.
I'm just gonna zigzag, you know?
Hi, great talk. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
preparing and having the great visuals behind you and
Thank
leading
you.
us through that process. I had a question about one of the, like, half a second, the Harlem Theater was on the back
Yes.
wall. And so I wanted to ask, what's your connection with the Harlem Theater, and when can we have Creative Mornings?
I know,
there?
wouldn't that be cool? So I snuck that in there. That part of the video was actually supposed to have sound. And again, all of these videos are very personal to me. The person playing the drums, that was me. I like to wear costumes and make pretend that I could do karate. My connection, I have a lot of friends and we all do things together. And so Manes, who was doing the drumming, he's actually my drum teacher. Manes Yehuda, if you know him. Anybody know Manes? All right. Manes, Menes, Yehuda, YH Huda. So Manes will be actually starting up drum classes again. So ask me and I'll connect you with Manes. But anyway, we were drumming outside, and the woman that was next to him, Amnia, she was singing. Well, she actually wasn't singing. She was making like a, but she is a singer. It was a very powerful moment, and I was in the center. That actually was the one of the ambassador photos from my Lululemon photo shoot. And in the middle of that, I got so many stories, y'all, and I just, that was taken at the harbor, that photo, after the day that I saw Harriet. So that photo shoot was really challenging. So that whole thing was just really powerful. The Harlem Theater right now is not available for like public consumption at this point because there's a lot of renovations that need to happen in the space before people can really come in and utilize the space. But wouldn't that be awesome? That would be really amazing. Yeah.
Hi, first of all, I want to say I love your glasses.
Thank
As a glasses
you.
wearer, I'm always scoping out others' glasses.
Thank you.
And my question for you is around circadian rhythm, and lots of things that my spouse and I do follow, but we do have issues with our sleep.
Mm-hmm.
We exercise in the morning, no coffee past 10. For those who naturally struggle with sleep and insomnia,
Mm-hmm.
what advice or recommendations do you have for them in terms of dealing with that and managing their circadian rhythm?
Well, with having like a very superficial knowledge of what you did, you say you exercise, right?
Girl, I was at the gym this morning at 6 a.m.
Hey. So one of the things that can disturb our sleep patterns is cortisol, too much cortisol in our system, stress. Your adrenals produce cortisol. And so if your life is super stressful, it just might be an issue, right? Or if you have small kids, that could be a thing. So I would have to have a deeper conversation with you to help you more with that. But I would say try yoga, because yoga is a little different from like taking a spin class or something like that. Just spending time in a quiet place. Even like, it doesn't matter where you do yoga. You can come to a class, you can come to just do it by yourself, and just spending some time, because what happens is when you practice yoga or other mindfulness activities, actually it will help to normalize those hormones, which make it easier for you to sleep. Because if your cortisol levels are out of whack and your melatonin and everything's out of whack, then you're going to have trouble sleeping. You're going to wake up over and over again. And so feel free to call me. Yeah. Call me.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, girl.
Thanks for your awesome talk.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Yes.
I miss it. So I'm gonna go here because you go here, and it's really been a gift to me. I'm wondering, in a world where there's so much for the feminine, whoever wants to embody the feminine, you're not enough, you're too much, you're too big, you're too small, you go too much, you don't do enough, all of those things. Like, can you give us an action or or a thought or both to just really like embody the root sexuality all the way through the energy to the heart and the throat, particularly I think the throat. Is there anything you can think of that you could, I guess, show us or give us?
Okay. All right. So the first thing that comes to mind is Mula Bandha, pelvic floor contraction. And then also, oh my bad, right? Mula Bandha, so pelvic floor contraction, right? So for the guys, it's going to be more like perineum focus. For the women, it's going to be a vaginal contraction, stopping a stream of urine or semen, right? So holding back. If you're not sure about those muscles, can you really, I paused for a second because I remember that I asked Kira if kids were allowed at this event, and she just liked my thing. But so I'm talking about semen and orgasms and things like that. So
It's sexy creative mornings.
it's sexy, right? Listen, we're here in the vibe. We got to go with it. Okay? So, but Mula Bandha it can be very sexual, but it also can support your back, which is connection to your security, right? Your connection to home and all of that. So when your pelvic floor is strong, it's actually very healthy for your spine, because remember, your pelvic floor, your abdominals, and your low back all work in unison. So if something is out of whack, you actually experience incontinence or a lot of pain. So some of y'all probably already doing it right now. Y'all like, let me do that. Yes. So, and the thing is, right, I tend to not call it Kegels because that's some dude, right? Some dude. Right, he branded it or whatever. That was his brand. So you contract your pelvic floor. If you do it hard enough, you might like start to move, like maybe your stomach moves a little bit because again, everything is connected. All right, and so when you contract your pelvic floor, you start to stir up your root chakra, and then your throat, right, your voice. You can do ujjayi breathing with a contraction at the back of your throat. Or you can even do chin lock, right? Some people can't really do chin lock because it's a lot, right? So pretend you're Darth Vader. And how would you do? You go, right? You try not to spit on this thing, right? And so you're fogging up a mirror. There's a contraction at the back of your throat. Close your mouth with it. Of course, I said Darth Vader, so now you're thinking, Luke, I am your father. So I've ruined this for you. So you're contracting your pelvic floor, and you're breathing, ujjayi breathing with the throat contracted. Right? Ujjayi breathing does not mean that your throat is contracted. A lot of people think that that's what that is. There's lots of different ujjayi breathings. Okay, so it's a slow, soft, deep inhalations and exhalations, contracting the pelvic floor, and you're like, how long do I have to hold this? Right? How long? Right? 4 seconds. A minute, whatever. Right? And you can do it with holding your breath. You mix it up, right? You can do it where you contract and release. You can do it where you hold it for as long as you can. But I don't have the right pants on to show you. Don't do this. Right? That ain't it, y'all. That's too much. Okay? Should be your secret that you're doing this. Okay? And so you might feel if you do this effectively and strongly, you can actually women, I don't know about y'all, but women can actually bring themselves to orgasm. It's kind of cool. All right? Didn't know you were going to learn that today, did you? All right?
Yes, Michelle, good morning once again. Thank you for that wonderful lecture. And Michelle, you know, I tell you this all the time. I do not sleep well at night. It could be because, I'm an exercise fanatic. I do 14 exercise classes a week. 10 with Michelle.
He's not lying, y'all. He be everywhere.
I do. You know, and so if I be slow down or decrease my amount of exercise classes a week, that should help me sleep. Because my metabolism, like, I can be home watching TV, and I'm like, hey, I'm doing something, you know what I mean? So maybe, I guess I need to just chill sometimes, right? Stop moving, keep still. And you tell me this all the time, Saeed, calm down. So is that my key to getting my circadian? Did I say it right?
Circadian.
Circadian rhythm under control or back in sync with the universe?
So any strength overdone is a weakness, right? And so we have to say, what is our motivation for doing what we're doing? And we talked about this a couple weeks ago in class. We have an intergenerational yoga class that involves kids and everyone, seniors and everyone in between. And if you ever seen a 3-year-old, Julia, you got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, right? They don't stop, right? They're not supposed to stop. And with the Feldenkrais method, something that Jen and I have in common, y'all can learn about that later. But basically, when you move, you are doing all the things that you should do. Kids squat, roll around, move. But when you say start working at a grocery store and you just move like this all day, you ask that person to squat down, roll around, or whatever, they're going to call you crazy, right? Because they can't do it anymore, right? So one of the cool things about Saeed is that he can do so much because he never stopped. He's been working out strongly since he was 14, right? He's been vegetarian since he was 14, so he never lost it. And that's where he feels comfortable. But he's saying that it's disturbing his sleep. So I say, give it a week and see what happens. See if it changes your sleep patterns. Try it. See what happens.
You mean don't move?
No. I didn't say don't move. Look, he got instantly uncomfortable, right? If I have, because I teach in the morning and at night. This man comes to my classes in the morning and at night. He follows me all around, and I'm so grateful. He's actually my apprentice, so he learns a lot from me. So the thing is, and we could talk about this more, is I didn't say don't exercise, Saeed. I said do less. See what happens. It's not going to hurt you. I'm going to miss you, though, you know. And maybe you just come, because maybe like the social part of it, too. Maybe you come and you don't necessarily maybe you do less when you're there, right? So if you go to a dance class, maybe you like, because this man, he comes to a dance class and we're doing this and he dropping it to the floor and coming back up. Who asked you to do all that? Calm down.
It's time for tough love. Don't let his ass in.
I know. That's right. We ain't letting you in. All right. So too little is bad and too much is also bad because you need to recover. When you go to sleep, during that sleep cycle, your body will, well, it's not up there anymore, but you're recovering from injury. You're, improving your brain function. You ever have a bad night's sleep and try to function the next day? Your brain isn't working. Right? I feel like I did a lot of talking. We got more questions, or we? Yeah. All right, come on. Let's go.
I have one that is maybe a little related, but with a different perspective, maybe on like the environment and the things that we do. So I was born and raised in Ecuador, where we have 12 hours of sunlight all year round, and I was very much on this regular of everything. Like I eat at a certain time, go to school at a certain time, pee at a certain time. But ever since I've been in the north and I lived in Ithaca, New York for a time, it's really difficult to, like the winter months really mess me up. And even I was just in Ecuador for 2 weeks. It was so quickly back to my like I'm a morning person. I'm up and I'm active, and then I come back here, and I want to do these things like exercise and have structure, and I just can't do it. It's so difficult. So I'm wondering about if you have heard this before. I don't know, from other people, like the difference of environment.
Absolutely.
And, you know, the latitude and all of that, and what recommendations you may have.
Absolutely. So, SAD, seasonal affective disorder, or even with the daylight savings time, it is hard to get out of bed. I get up before the sun every day, and it is hard. But once I'm up and going, then you know, it's better. And I think that most of us may feel that way. Like those of us who wake up with an alarm, you know, it's hard at first, but once you get going and you have your Black Acres coffee, then, you know, don't talk to me before I drink my coffee. So, but the circadian rhythm is connected to the light and the dark. So you not feeling like it is a physiological thing. So we had to overcome, right? So we had to create habits that support, or even create an environment that supports that, right? So make an extra effort to go outside, right? Do you go outside every day for 30 minutes? Yeah, the way she answered me, I could tell that it's like, right? So even that, you know, getting, like, you had to go to the sun, go outside for 30 minutes, walk outside, you get your sunlight and your exercise. Even if it's not a sunny day, you're still getting light. Open up your windows, cut off your devices after a certain time. Don't watch the news before you go to bed. You know, limit your exposure to stimulating things in the evening. And then also, one of the things that I noticed about some cultures, particularly where you're from, is that it's very family focused. So you probably were with your family, right? And how do you feel when you see people you love? The people that I love dearly are right in the front, and y'all giving me so much energy. And like when you smile, I'm like, yeah, I love you, right? So, but when you're walking through, so Baltimore is really good about saying hi, right? It's like, how you doing? How you doing? That's it, right? And if you walk past somebody, you look at them, and then they turn their head, you be like, what's wrong with you? Right? And so, but, and I noticed in places like Ecuador and like even when I was in Honduras, everybody, I mean, Baltimore is a small town, so we're very connected, right? I know a lot of y'all in here. So that's a big part of it, environment, family, you know, and the light and dark is huge. So find the light. And then maybe you get a lamp. Because they have Amazon, you get it like tomorrow. Order, look up SAD lamp or seasonal affective disorder lamp or whatever. There's a certain light bulb. It's just not any light. It's got to be something. Does anybody know what it is?
It's just like a sun lamp.
A sun lamp. I was trying to like the UV. It's like a certain kind of lamp, right? You can find it. All right. I hope that helps.
Y'all, help me thank Michelle.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Whatever.
What we gotta do?
You don't have to do anything.
Oh.
Yeah,
You can find me at www.thedivayogi.com. Also on social media, Diva Yogi. Come see me. I'm all about accessibility.
Look, here it is.
And we go right there, right there. Making yoga accessible for everybody, right? Particularly people who don't normally have access to yoga. No yoga deserts on North Avenue, on Pennsylvania Avenue. Everything is affordable. We got props, we got everything. So yeah, I love y'all.
Yeah, thank you.